Hello everyone and welcome back to my CCNA course. In today's lesson we're going to learn about a very important redundancy protocol called HSRP, or we can call it Hot Standby Router Protocol. By the end of this video you should understand what is HSRP and why we use it, how to active, standby and virtual IP port, how to configure HSRP on Cisco routers, and how to test failover and how to verify that everything is working correctly. So let's begin. So what is HSRP? It provides gateway redundancy for your network. This means if your default gateway fails, another router automatically take over without users losing connectivity, or maybe they lose connection for 2 or 3 seconds. Without HSRP, if our gateway goes down, the entire network stops working. With HSRP, 2 or more routers work together. One router is active, one router is standby. They share a virtual IP address, and PCs use the virtual IP as their default gateway. So if the active router fails, the standby router becomes active instantly. HSRP is extremely important in enterprise networks. So let's create this topology. As always, we need 2 PC, 1, 2 and 3 switches, and we need one here, and one here. You can push the control button and place as many as you want. So now let's connect them. We're going to use this switch for testing if our network's working fine or not. So let's assign IPs. In here we're going to say for example 192.168.1.0 for this network, this side of the network. And for this side, we're gonna have, for example, 192.168.2.0. And here we're gonna have 192.168.3.0, and here we're gonna have 4.0. All right. So this PC is gonna have 192.168.4.10, and this PC is gonna have 110. All right. So now we're gonna configure our routers. So we're gonna assign IPs first. We say enable conf t, and we're gonna say IP address, interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0, and that IP gonna be 02. Instead of this port, instead of 11, I'm going to use 12 here. No shot. And for the other port, interface gigabit Ethernet 0/1, IP address 192.168.2.1. and no shot. So this one too, enable conf t interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0 IP address 192.168. Instead of using 1.1, I'm going to use 1.3 here, for example, or 1.4, doesn't matter. Say 1.3. We do not use these two interfaces for their default gateway for this PC. I'm going to show you in the future. So we're going to turn it on, and we're going to go interface, give the Ethernet 0/1 IP address 192.168.131. So I can also use this panel to assign IP addresses much easier, but I'd rather type every time because it gets easier every time I type it. So here we go, interface, go with Ethernet 0/0 IP address 192.168.2.2, no shot. Interface, go with Ethernet 0/2 for this port. We're gonna say IP address 192.168.1.32, no shot. And we're gonna go to interface, go with Ethernet 0/1. This one's gonna be 4.1. So we say IP address 192.168.4.1. Alright, so we just assigned IP addresses, but let's run HSRP. How to run that? We're gonna use these two routers for redundancy. Alright, so we go into this interface, and we're gonna say interface, go with Ethernet 0/0. We're going to use command standby, for example, and a number. We're going to say 1, and then we have to assign IP. So now we use the default gateway by the standby command. So standby 1 IP 192.168. Here's going to be 1.1. No subnet mask needed. And we're gonna say standby 1 preempt and standby 1. We're gonna say priority. For example, I say 100. So the priority is 100. If I set priority on this router, for example 99 or 98, this one is more prioritized than this one. So, and we're gonna say standby track, and for track we need to assign the other port that's passing the data. So here we say standby 1 track gigabit Ethernet 0/1, and that's it. And on this router we're going to do the same. We're going to interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0, say standby 1 IP 192.168.1.1, standby 1, we say preempt. Priority is going to be, for example, 98, and standby 1 track, as I said earlier, we use this port. See, HSRP state changed. So track, we're going to say gigabit Ethernet 0/1. So that's it. We just did the configuration for HSRP. Now we need to add a route between this PC and this PC so these two can communicate. So I'm going to use a dynamic routing protocol. As I said earlier, we say router EIGRP, for example, 1, and we're going to assign networks. That's all. Easy. 10, 20. That's it for this one. And this one, we say router EIGRP1, and we're going to say network 192.168.10, and 30 here, and we're done for these two. And we're gonna do the same for this router. We're gonna say router EIGRP 1, network is gonna be 192.168.40, 20, 30. All right. So now we're gonna test. I'm gonna say ipconfig is 110 and this one is 410. We say ping 192.168.410. Let me say dash t. First time it's gonna be failed. All right. So as you can see, we just set up a connection between these two PCs. So I disconnect this cable, so I connect this to this one. So as you can see, request timeout. One timeout and the second one. So as you can see, instead of using this port, it's now using this port. So now I connect this again, and let's see if this connects. Now I'm gonna disconnect this port. So as you can see, this is still working. Alright, so I stop this, Control C, and I'm going to connect this to this one. Alright, now I'm going to check the routers. We say, for example, show standby. It doesn't matter, we should say standby. So as you can see, it says on gigabit Ethernet 0/0 group 1 state is active, 10 state changes, and the virtual IP address is 192.168.11, and preemption is enabled. Active router is local. As you can see, standby router is 1.3. So it realized that this port is 1.3 with priority 98. So let's test things again. We're gonna say, let me use simulation between these PCs. First time. Alright, so it goes from the top. It uses this router by default because we set priority on 100. So now we're gonna ping again. It's gonna be real time, and we see it is pinging. Now we're gonna go into this interface and we shut it down. Say conf-t interface of the Ethernet 0/0, and we say shut. One timeout. Alright, so it is working perfectly fine. If I use this, see, successful. So let me turn this on again. Say no shot. Alright. So we just finished this episode, and in this lesson we learned HSRP provides gateway redundancy, uses a virtual IP here, and if one router is down, the other one uses the standby. So uses priority to select the active router. Preempt allows automatic failback, and works perfectly for enterprise networks. And HSRP ensures your users stay connected even if a router goes down. So if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.